we're working with Easel by Inventables. First thing I'm going to do is change the material to match with what we're cutting out. They don't have an oak, but hard maple is close. Change the width and the height to match how we loaded it onto the Maslow, 5.5 by 48 inches. We're going to change the bit to do the detailing work. We're using a 16th inch bit, so we'll select that. Cut settings, we're going to increase the depth per pass just slightly so we don't have more passes than what we need, and it shouldn't harm the bit to increase the depth by a little. Now we can go and import the image, our SVG file. I'll just quickly show you the Irish logo, since importing letters or words and not actually typing them out themselves gave me a little bit of trouble, so I'll show you how I figured things out. Looking at this side will show us our preview of what it's going to look like, and as you can tell, the 16th inch bit is too thick to cut out all the details, so the machine is only looking at cutting out what the bit is small enough to do, which isn't much. So first thing, we can change our depth because we don't want the image to cut all the way through the material. So right now I'm just going to set it at a 1/16 of an inch, and then that automatically changes our detailed preview. Next, we're going to go back over and we're going to select a different cut option. Right now it's clearing out a pocket, so it's just trying to go in between the lines. We're going to select cut on shape. And now what it's doing is it's going to actually do two passes. It's going to do one on the inside of the image and one along the outside of the image. We don't need both of them. As you can see on our detailed preview, this is really thick and it's leaving a lot of extra material that we don't want. So what we can do is we can go and we can edit the points and actually delete one of these extra lines that we don't need. So I'm just going to guess. I'm selecting one of the inside points, and as I hit the delete key, it's going to just work its way all the way around the image and delete all those points. And I'm watching it on our detailed preview, and I see that it's actually taken away too much detail from the S. So I would want to replace all the things that I just deleted. So I'm going to press Control Z. It's going to undo everything I did. And now I'm going to go and select the outside point and see if that looks better. So we've completely erased that outside line, and looking at our detailed preview, that looks pretty much exactly what we want. So we can go to the clover and do the same thing. Then select the eye, edit points, select an outside point, and use our delete key. Everything matches and looks good, but we don't want it to cut out at the corner of the material, so we can recenter it. Selecting the center position will allow us to change the coordinates of the center of the image. Need to make sure that we have everything selected so it'll all move at once. Center of our material is 2 3/4 of an inch, and then I'll raise it up to about 3 inches. Now we have the detailed cut finished, and we need the coaster cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new workpiece to do that cut, because I want to use a 1/4 inch bit to cut everything out. It'll make the cut faster, and it will do less damage to the bit than as if I tried to cut everything out with a 16th inch bit. So to create the coaster cutout, I'll select a circle. I'll reposition it so the center matches the center of the detailed cut, 2 3/4, 3 inches. I'm going to change the width to the width that we want, which is 4 inches, and I'm locking this position or the ratio so that when I change the width, it automatically changes the height to keep it in proportion. On the cut, we're going to change it so it cuts outside the path. We don't want to clear out a pocket. And this is going all the way through the material, so the depth needs to be set to half an inch. Then these yellow markers are the tabs that will keep the coaster connected to the workpiece. If these tabs weren't here, then as soon as it finished cutting through, the piece would drop and that'll hit into the router bit, which would damage the outside of the material, and we don't want that to happen. It automatically presets to a quantity of 4 for each cutout. For something this small, that'll be just fine. But if we're doing multiple coasters on top of each other and overlapping the cut, then we might need to reposition them, and you just hover your mouse over and you can move them easily at wherever you want. You can change the length and you can change the depth. These preset lengths and heights should be just fine for the coasters though. So going back to our Irish detailed view, we can see that maybe it's going to be a little too wide for a coaster. So what we can do to check it is we can just copy the circle cut and we can paste it into this and see exactly where it's going to line up. And yes, the Irish logo looks like it's going to be slightly too big. So I'm going to reselect everything and resize it. I don't want to resize the circle, so I'll get rid of that for now. And then again, locking the ratios, I can change the width and it'll change the height at the same time, so all the proportions will remain the same. Just shrink it down a little bit. If you paste in multiple items, it's automatically going to shift it over so they don't overlap. So that, and now we can see that's centered better.